Am I the asshole? Conflict over visiting family. My husband and I are currently traveling in a foreign country, where his mother is from. After visiting various places, we arrived at the house of his uncle and aunt several days ago. Yesterday, two of the uncle's daughters, i.e., my husband's first cousins, drove over an hour to come visit us. They had not seen my husband in 6 years and had never met me before. My husband let me know several hours in advance that they were coming. Upon their arrival, I refused to come out of my room, saying I had a headache and wanted to sleep instead. My husband became very upset at my refusal. He said that not coming out of my room to meet my cousins would be deeply offensive to them and deeply embarrassing for him. I told him that I didn't appreciate his tone and I can do what I want. He cannot tell me what to do. Edit. My husband wrote the words above and asked me to post it like that. He didn't want to include my side. My apologies, but here is my side, a bit late but here it is. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I have to be very mindful of my activities so I don't trigger a flare-up which includes joint subluxations in ribs and neck, the pain of which is so bad that no medicine helps and I've literally told people just kill me, I can't take the pain. I had doctors who tried to get me to do surgery, because this can be dangerous, but I have managed to keep it under control through being mindful of my body as I go through the day, as well as a special program for childhood trauma release. The idea being that the body can heal even physical problems with the proper trauma release. At this point, I am mindful and careful of my activity level, and I can live a happy and productive life. Since arriving at his hometown 2 months ago, my husband has told me that he believes my pain is in my head, and that I need to push through it to do the things he wants me to do. Also, he doesn't want me to tell any of his family members that I have a chronic illness, because it's not real, and it'll embarrass him. At first I listened and did as he said. But once the flare-up started, I told him I can't do it. He needs to allow me to follow my body as I usually do when we are not traveling. At first he said no, but finally after a few weeks he said okay. And so we planned this trip to visit his aunt and uncle. This was supposed to be the trip that would help repair our relationship that had fallen apart. He promised me that I wouldn't have to do anything unless I wanted to, that I could say no anytime I wanted to. Anyway, I pushed myself to meet people, and go on trips with his family, and keep in mind that the temperature is in the mid-90s here. I was willing to do this for him, I just had to take a nap afterwards to prevent getting a flare-up. Then B told me people are coming, already on their way. I was surprised that he wasn't keeping in mind what he had promised me, but they were on their way so I just said okay. Anyway, I went to take a nap to sleep off the effects from the sun, to make sure a migraine didn't set in. But the problem is we ended up having to take care of some hotel issues first, and then he kept coming in the room to get stuff so I couldn't sleep. So by the time I was finally dozing off, his cousins arrived. He came in the room announcing, "They're here," and I was like, "I can't come out, I'm going back to sleep." Keep in mind I was half asleep, and not feeling well, and probably would have come out once I woke up a bit, but I was dazed and confused and feeling gross. Also, I knew that if I would just go out for a few minutes and say I felt ill, so my apologies I need to sleep, he would have been just as mad, as he's pretty clear that he doesn't want his family to know about my health problems. Anyway, next he started saying, "Sorry you have to. This is not a choice," and so I said, "But you promised you wouldn't expect anything of me. That was our agreement before this trip. You said you'd stop telling me what to do." He started yelling and shaking his arm at me and telling me if I don't come out then we need to get a separation. I started sobbing. And then I clearly couldn't come out while I was sobbing. His aunt came in and I told her what was happening, she listened and calmed me down, and then I went out and met them while they were on their way out. Info. Did you actually have a headache? It's not clear. This honestly reads like the husband wrote it trying to get a YTA for the wife. Your husband has a pattern of coercive control. This is domestic abuse. You need to be careful with him. He's threatening to leave you but it seems you need to leave him. Not the asshole. Your husband is an arsehole though. Divorce him. This is not a marriage worth saving. For God's sake, leave him. He believes you are faking a chronic illness. That should have been the point at which you left. And for all the people suggesting you pop a pill and carry on, you know best what your limits are. Not the asshole. Not the asshole is someone with a chronic illness. Leave him. He doesn't even believe you have an illness. He doesn't support you. He doesn't care about you. He didn't include any of the parts of you not feeling well in his part of the post. He straight up does not care. Leave his ass. Not the asshole. You should have included your side in the original post. You also need to leave your husband as he is a self-centered D who does not care about your diagnosed medical condition. He sounds controlling, manipulative and abusive. You are the asshole, but I'm confused. You refused to come out of your room saying you had a headache and wanted to sleep, but the way you've written this comes off like you've made it up. Did you have a headache? It's like you've made no effort here to explain your thoughts or feelings. This is so bad it genuinely sounds fake, but in case it's not, yes, you are the asshole. They literally drove for a quarter of the day to see you. Even if you did have a headache, you could have sucked it up or taken some medicine, but instead you want to blame your husband. Sounds like you might have bigger issues you need to work out in your relationship if this is how you act towards him and his family. Update. Would I be the asshole for making my roommate pay to replace my panties? Still on mobile, so again I apologize for the formatting. Also, thank you for all the advice and support. You guys really helped me make an informed decision. I left out some details intentionally because thinking about it and making it public was just too disturbing and I was in denial. Taylor also went in my nightstand to look at and handle my adult toys, and he dug through my hamper to presumably look for used underwear. Now onto the update. Taylor denied everything. Despite the fact that we had it all on video, he tried to make up different reasons why he was in there, tried to downplay it, said he only came in to look around, and then said he doesn't remember ever entering our room. We told him he could either move out, go to therapy, or we could move out and he would have to find new roommates. He basically told us, no. He said we had no authority to kick him out and that blackmailing him with the videos was illegal. Unfortunately, he was on our lease, so there wasn't much we could do without taking legal action. So we got to work. We started looking for a new place to live, started looking for a lawyer, filed a police report, and made plans to file for a restraining order. But every single day I was constantly anxious at work and fearful in my own home because it was clear that he had absolutely no remorse. After about a week with no sleep and constant fear, I finally spoke to my boss about the situation. My concerns were taken seriously and they immediately began taking steps to help me. I showed them the videos and they agreed that his actions were completely unacceptable and, due to the nature of our work, he is considered a liability and a danger to other employees. They made sure I was in a safe place before they suspended him while they investigated him. During his suspension, I met with my bosses and they continued to support me and ensure my safety. They also made plans to terminate him as he also had multiple negative performance reports. So this whole deal was the nail in his coffin. However, Taylor quit before they had the chance to fire him. The day after he quit, he got all his crap out of the apartment and signed documents removing himself from the lease. He has not attempted to contact me since. This whole situation has been extremely emotionally draining. It has caused a lot of painful memories and emotions to resurface. Looking back on our friendship now, I can recall multiple red flags in which he crossed clear personal boundaries I set. I can't believe he was ever someone I trusted and loved like a big brother. But for now, he is out of our lives and I am relieved. I'm still living with my parents, but I plan on moving back as soon as the apartment locks get changed. That's all I've got for now. Edit. Original post here. Too long, did not read. Taylor quit, moved out, and hasn't attempted to contact me since. Some people are unbelievable. How he denied everything when you had it on video. It would be hilarious if it wasn't so disturbing. So sorry you had to go through this, op. Sending you lots of love. Hope you and your boyfriend can move back into your home soon. I remember reading the original post and being concerned for your safety, the safety of your boyfriend and the safety of your animals. You handled a difficult situation like a boss, hooray, hoping you can put it all past you. I cannot fathom going through that hard. Thank you for the update. I'm glad everything worked out, but let me just say, the fact that you had him on video, doing those things, and yet he still tried to deny them, I'm floored. His behavior is very unnerving, and I'm glad you considered a restraining order better safe than sorry. Original post here. Glad you got rid of him, op, and that you're safe. He sounds like a piece of work. Hey, I am glad this got resolved, but can I suggest that you continue to break lease or sublet? Move somewhere that he does not know the address. I'm glad you are safe. Maybe consider a restraint order, just as a safety measure. Take time out with Family and also consider moving to a different place, again safety and fresh memories. I'm glad your workplace protected you. Take care, op. Hugs. Wow. That's quite a crazy story. I am so sorry this happened to you. You handled everything perfectly. I'm so glad you are safe. but maybe consider getting some pepper spray or something on a keychain. The denial despite being on video is just ridiculous. But not unprecedented. Op came home and she caught me on video creeping with her underwear. Picture this. I was all butt naked hanging onto her big dildo. How could I forget that she had put up all those cameras all this time she was standing there? She knew exactly what I had done. She even caught me on camera. Nah, it wasn't me. Am I the asshole for leaving my grandma in an undecorated, bare room for 3 days? 30F, I'm a single parent and I work full-time in mental health. My paternal grandmother, 82, is a hoarder. My uncle, 47, lives with her and is an alcoholic. I went round for the first time since lockdown and the place was in a right state. With permission, I ordered a 9-yard skip, got rid of everything, decades of shite, and furniture with a friend of mine while my uncle did the bare minimum. Then I stripped the wallpaper, painted the ceiling X5, nicotine stains, and walls X2 base coat, took my grandma out to choose paper and paint, new curtains, etc. This was all done over the course of a weekend. Another friend offered to come hang the wallpaper in the week. I went to see my dad on the Sunday, to give Father's Day gift, and I was covered in paint. They asked why and I told them. They were angry that my uncle was letting her live like that. He claims carer's allowance for her but congratulated me on doing something about it. My friend did the wallpaper on the Monday while I was at work. I went back on the Tuesday on my lunch break to find my dad and stepmom helping out with the painting. There was only the final coat to go, and glossing. They got the painting done. The next day they said they'd go to do the glossing. I asked them not to because they were aching from the painting, and it wouldn't take me long. The next Sunday I rang my dad explaining that I had viewings on my own house, as I'm moving. Asking if my son, 5, and I could come stay for a couple of days, to keep my house tidy while they were done. He said I'd been asking a lot of them and implied it's more than any of the kids, to include my 3 stepbrothers, one of whom stays over there 2-3 nights a week as it's closer to his work. I asked what he meant. He said that they had to come over and do the painting for my grandma. I pointed out that I didn't ask him and actually quite the contrary. He said I should have got it done and I shouldn't have left an 80-year-old woman like that. What would you have done if we hadn't come round? I said I would have done it after work, that I'd achieved a lot over the weekend. He asked when I'm at work all day. I said I'd been trying my best and going round when I could, that I'd got friends in to help, etc. He basically said my friend didn't work hard enough. I pointed out you can't paint over wet wallpaper, but that didn't get me very far. I started crying and he said he had to go. I don't know if I'm asking for too much or taking the PSS or whatever. I did my best in the time I had, but I could have planned it better. But then I'm massively butthurt because I didn't ask for their help. I would have done it by myself. I'd already broken my back on it and spent about £350 all told to get it done. I've always had this damned if I do, damned if I don't thing with my dad. Am I the asshole for asking my dad if I could stay over, and or for not getting the decorating done quick enough and unsettling my grandma? Edit. Spacing, wrote, maternal, instead of, paternal. No way. Not the asshole, op. Your dad and uncle, however, are prize sphincters. You went above and beyond. You should send copies of the receipts to your dad and a request for reimbursement if he insists on behaving so boorishly. Not the asshole. Your dad is 150% the asshole in this situation for implying you didn't do enough. The hoarding situation could have been intervened years before. Frankly, both your uncle and your father are on the negligent side in her care. Why are you letting your father shift the responsibility for his mother onto you? He obviously didn't bother to check in on her. If he had, do you think he would have done what you did? He wouldn't have. He's just the type who's around to do the finishing touches, so he can take credit. He doesn't want people to know, or admit to himself, that he's been neglected his elderly parent. Not the asshole. What would you have done if we hadn't come round? Everything you did, but 2 days later. Why did you let her live worse than that for years? What would you have done if I didn't come round and fix everything last week? Not the asshole. You didn't have to help your grandma in the first place. It's not like it was your fault her house was in that state. Your parents didn't even assist until you made them aware of it. Not the asshole. Your dad is definitely an ass. Not the asshole. Sounds like you did a lot for grandma. Sounds like he hadn't even been over there for a long time if he hadn't seen how bad things were. Not the asshole. You're taking time out of your own day to do something kind for your grandma that other members of your family didn't. They aren't the ones who are putting in the effort like you, and I don't think they should have much of a say in how you get something done. They should be grateful for the generosity and effort you showing. Am I the asshole for kicking out my 22F boyfriends, 24M ex, 23F from my family's cabin? English is not my first language, so I apologize in advance for any mistake. My boyfriend and I've been dating for a year now, and he is the father of a 6Y0 girl, Isabel, with his ex, Kat. I don't know a lot about their romantic relationship, but before that they were childhood friends, and when they decided to break up, staying in good terms for their daughter wasn't that hard for them. I'll admit that I've always been a little jealous of her cuz I knew my boyfriend was devastated by the breakup as he saw himself forming a big family with her in the future. So, in March of this year my boyfriend told me that his family was planning on doing a small family vacation for Isabel's birthday at the lake. They wanted to rent a cabin, have lots of food and games, and then my boyfriend and his father would take her fishing. I was so excited cause this was the first time his family included me in something like that, so I offered my grandpa's cabin for the party. They insisted that that wasn't necessary but ended up accepting after a few times. The plan was that his parents, his grandparents, his brother and his brother's girlfriend and us would arrive on June 25. His family would leave on the 26th and my boyfriend, his daughter and I would stay until the 28th. From what I know they had invited Kat, but she had to refuse since she had lot of work to do and would celebrate with my BF's kid until the following weekend. Halfway to the party and we were having a blast, Isabel and I are playing with some kids' fishing rods and then, Kat enters with some bags and the cake my boyfriend and I ordered. Needless to say, Isabel ran at her and thanked her for the cake and for coming. Kat did said that the cake was mine but that she brought her some of her mother's brownies that she could have one. I tried to tell Kat that Isabel and I were playing and she told me that it was fine and that she would only eat one brownie and then go back to play with me, and right after that my boyfriend's family came over to greet her and my patience spilled when my boyfriend took everything she had in the hands and gave him a kiss on the cheek and said that he was happy she could make it. I took my boyfriend by the arm and asked Kat to leave because it was my family's cabin and I didn't want her there, my boyfriend, and she tried to say that it was their daughter's party and that I had no reason to kick her out. I told her to my boyfriend that one of us had to leave and he had no choice but to ask her. After that we left with his family and he insists that I owe her an apology and that the tantrum I made over a kiss wasn't right and that I ruined his daughter's birthday because Isabel kept asking for her mom. I admit that I felt jealous for the sudden attention that she got. But I was looking forward to that party without her cuz everyone seems to love her and to be waiting for them to get back together. Nobody except us knows the real reason why she left, but I don't think I should apologize. You are the asshole. Jealousy is really unattractive. This party wasn't about you. It was about a little girl that deserves to have both her parents there. You're gonna get nowhere making an enemy out of this woman. You should be at the very least civil with her. You owe her an apology. You are the asshole. Hands down. You have a shit ton of growing up to do if you're going to be in a blended family. The power play about my family's cabin was a dick move and won't be forgotten. The absolute most important person in this story is Isabel. She's so very fortunate that her mom and dad are able to co-parent so beautifully and do minimum damage. Then your ass rolls around all, oops, sorry kid. He may be your dad but he's my boyfriend, and if my jealousy fucks up your life, too bad. Because that is what will happen if you keep making an unnecessary enemy out of his ex. She may be awesome but she's an ex for a reason. Keep on and you will be, too. I think you should apologize if you really care about your BF. You are the asshole. You were joining your boyfriend's family's vacation, kicking out a guest on their vacation, trying to parent your boyfriend's kid over her own mom, and handled your jealousy publicly instead of talking to your boyfriend about boundaries with his ex. It was the kid's birthday. Take your boyfriend aside later and explain your discomfort then. You are the asshole. You insisted they have the party at your family's cabin, then used that as leverage to keep the ex away. You need to get your jealousy under control. Insecure B isn't a good look on anyone. Your boyfriend and his ex will co-parent for the rest of Isabel's life. You might not be around for another day. Also, a kiss on the cheek? Seriously? That's the least romantic thing ever. I kiss my dad on the cheek every time I say hello. You don't mention what country culture you hail from, so it could be even less romantic for your country culture than it is for mine. You are the asshole. Your jealousy is yours to deal with. What you did was petty and childish. If you genuinely had good intentions about hosting the B-Day party, then you would have allowed Isabel's mother to stay and talk to your boyfriend privately later. You are the asshole. If you didn't want the girl's mother there, you shouldn't have offered up your grandfather's cabin and you shouldn't have been there. Your jealousy is really gross. You are the asshole, and while it was your family's cabin, it was their daughter's birthday. On that point they were correct. I understand being caught off guard. But you aren't Isabel's parent, and giving your boyfriend an ultimatum over something so trivial as the mother of his daughter showing up when she was invited to begin with, is not a good look for you. You do owe Kat an apology. You are the asshole Isabel's mother is her mother, and like it or not, she will be a part of your life as long as your boyfriend is. They come as a package deal, and if you work hard at being this perpetually jealous, petty and insecure, you will only drive a wedge in your relationship with your partner.